Happy Magic Monday.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Magic Monday. I wanted something a little different.
You can do something a little different.
I said the exact same thing as you.
It's Monday and May is almost over. We're just reveling over that. I think that's the word I want to say.
May is almost over?
Yeah, it's almost over.
I heard that you said Megan is almost over.
Oh no, May. May's almost over. Welcome, welcome. Happy to welcome to Magic Monday. Say hello when you jump on. Let us know where you're watching from. We are going to talk a little bit about our relationship. We've gotten a lot of compliments about our synergy, working together, and our relationship, and how we've come to that.
Yeah, so this will be a fun topic. I mean, I definitely think it's a magical topic because from my experience and the people in my life, I don't think that such a healthy, close bond between a mother-daughter is very common. Even though there can be close relationships, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're high functioning and healthy and aware. And so because we've had so many awesome compliments and comments on our dynamic and the way that we work together, we thought that it would be helpful to come in and just share a little about how we got to where we are and how maybe, you can apply that to relationships in your life as well. But as you hop on, please say hello. And if you're catching the replay, #Replay Magic Monday.
Yes, yes. So I think this is a really important topic because, as you know, Megan and I run the Sophia Mystery School together. And that whole mother-daughter energy is super important because the mother-daughter dynamic, our expectations of it is that it's often volatile, it's often disrespectful, it's often the opposite of what the mother-daughter dynamic can be and what its original blueprint was meant to be. And so it's really good. We're glad we get to bring this energy into the Sophia Mystery School because the Sophia is our Heavenly Mother. And because we, in our culture, in our patriarchal culture, we did not have a Heavenly Mother, there is no divine relationship to really model it after. Just like the masculine doesn't have a divine relationship to model the masculine father-son relationship after, other than a punishing, vengeful, judgmental God. So, but we're not going into that. We're talking about the mother and daughter today.
Yeah.
So we have been close for all of our lives. We've been close and we've had our difficulties. And our relationship has had to evolve.
Yeah, I think that's a really good word, is evolve, right? Because it has not been the same throughout. And where we are now is a really good example of a lot of conscious effort and awareness and evolution, transition from, if you can imagine, I mean, any mothers that are here, how you are with your young children. I mean, I have that experience with Salem now, my daughter now. And how do you shift from being the mother and the provider who does direct and guide to being able to be in a more equal relationship as the daughter grows older? And I think that was probably, a point of contention for us. One, we've never seen it done, right? So like, was it even possible? Or were we just, damned to have the regular mother-daughter relationship where there's judgment and expectation?
And criticism. Criticism is big among mothers and daughters. And over the years, what I've discovered is the more we love ourselves, the more we can love our daughters, because our daughter reflects back to us typically what we don't want to see in ourselves. And so our self-criticism then becomes projected out onto our daughter, which then ultimately creates a barrier, creates distance, and destroys the relationship.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest pieces I got to do as a mother and has helped me move through the difficult times, because you share, you know, Megan was sex trafficked, and one of the biggest things I got to do was, number one, remember that my kids are souls. Megan is a soul with her own soul path, her own soul purpose outside of me. One of the things I share with my clients is that our children are much more than just our children, right? They have a whole soul history, a whole soul profile, a blueprint for what they came in to experience, and a blueprint for what they're here to do. And so that got me through that very difficult time of 5 years of Megan being away from me, in a very dangerous situation, is just holding her in my prayers, letting her have her experience, and trusting in her divinity that she would be okay. So I had to let go and say, okay, this is Megan's path and purpose. I could not have prevented it. It wasn't meant for me to prevent. Megan and I have these conversations all of the time around, you know, being a mom and being a supporter of our children's divine path and purpose. That some things just are not meant to be prevented. Mm-hmm. And so not only was that for my own sanity, is that I just had to let Megan have her experience. Otherwise I would have been anxious and fearful, and I still had kids at home to raise. And so I got to allow her experience. And you required that too, because I remember saying something rude about the guy she was with. And she told me, she goes, Mom, I'm in love with him. And if you're going to make snide remarks about him, then we won't have a relationship. So that's when I decided I will do whatever it takes to be in relationship with my daughter. And so what I did is what Megan knew all along, is that when she chose to extricate herself from the situation, that she would always be welcome at home.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's a huge piece of what brought me home, right? Was the allowing me to be, right? The letting go, but then holding the space for me to return, for me to come home. And, you know, I think that as moms, there's been so many, especially with the women in the industry that I ran into, their parents, they abandoned them. What do you call that? Ostracize?
Yeah, something.
You know, like kick them out of the tribe, right? Because they had gone down this path of that they didn't approve of. And so now their daughters were really not, had they already been sex trafficked, but now they were stranded.
Yeah.
For me, I had a lifeline back home. And as the daughter, I think the biggest, probably the most challenging experience shifting from that mother-child into an adult-adult relationship was realizing that she wasn't perfect, right? That she was human and she made mistakes, and that she had her own soul journey, and that just because she was my mom, she hadn't completed all of this work that would make her some guru, right? That knew everything. Seeing her as human was really quite disappointing.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. I mean, that was a point of contention, and it was a lot of sadness to realize, wait, if she isn't right about everything, and her way isn't the only way, well then I felt almost like controlled, right? Like, well, you told me this was the way. Now I'm learning there's all these other ways. And there's something about the realization of her humanness that was hard to choke down. And then, you know, it took real conscious effort to not just working on the relationship as a whole, as in our relationship, but we went and saw Kim a few times together. We went and saw, you know, we did therapy and spiritual and personal development together, but we did it separately as well, right? And for any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a mother-daughter relationship or a friendship relationship, I believe that it's so important to be always personally evolving and seeing the relationship as an opportunity for growth, not as a, hey, this is what you're supposed to give me, right? Like, you're my mom, and now I remember with Samson, when Samson was born, I had this idea of who she would become as I became a mother, right? Well, now you're a grandma, so behave like this, right? And so it takes this release of expectation. And then on the other side of that is the gratitude of exactly who they are. And I mean, that would help that's any relationship. But I mean, she makes it into my gratitude journal every single day.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. You behave well now since I've done that.
Shocking. But no, I think you bring up a good point around releasing the expectations of the roles. Really, because there's a definite realization of, we're going to have an adult to adult relationship now, and that means a lot of things that my kids got away with as younger children, where I might like protect their feelings or something. It's like, okay, now this is a two-way relationship. Now we treat each other adult to adult.
Yeah. So not only does the aspect of it end where she is the boss of me and she gets to have say in how I live my life, right? That ends, but so does that reverting into a child around her, right? As in being like snarky or, just like, I can't think of it, but I remember even still being an adult and making comments or, just things that you would expect your child to do, right? That you'd be like, oh, she's such a brat sometimes, right? That no longer gets a place. And when it does come up, because again, this isn't perfection, right? When it does come up, we get to discuss it, right? We get to talk about it as adults, not as in, oh, well, she told me and she's my mom, so now I just need to shut up and be quiet.
Right. We have an open channel for conversation, and how that looks like is we request time. If something comes up for Megan or if something comes up for myself, we reach out to each other and say, hey, something came up for me. I would like to clear the air. Is now a good time? And, it's been a while since we've done that, a couple of months or 3 months or something. And like something came up for Megan and I was like, oh, I had no idea anything was coming up, right? It's all that. We perceive so many different things. And if you leave it between you and you never discuss it, it grows and grows and grows. And Megan shared it and it was like, nothing, right? It was like, oh, I didn't feel that at all. I'm sorry that was, the perception I gave off or whatever, but that channel of conversation is always open. We get to talk about those things.
Yeah. And it's because of that, and just so everyone is clear, it doesn't mean that it's easy, right? It's still scary, right? Like as the daughter to say, hey, this is coming up for me. It's heartbreaking when something comes up for her and I was in an unconscious or unaware state where I hurt her feelings. But it's also so happy to know that was never our intention. And so even though now we have this dynamic and we have conversation tools and those sorts of things to work through, it doesn't make it easy. Right? It doesn't mean I'm not like, oh, well, I'm so happy I get to have this conversation with you. Right? I mean, my heart still pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Right? Those thoughts still come up, but I know for certain that we wouldn't get this funness that we have, this excitement and this closeness if we didn't also do those pieces that people are so afraid will push you apart, but they actually bring you closer.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I think has supported us too, has supported me in being able to do this is not feeling guilty about Megan's experiences in childhood. And we've had the conversations, right, of letting go of the past, and Megan having the conversations with me, sharing with me how she feels. And I do apologize for being an unconscious mom. You know, I was highly unconscious. In fact, my mom and dad were here this weekend for graduation. Her youngest brother, Justin, is graduating Tuesday. And Megan was like telling a story, and she was like, oh my gosh, you were so unconscious then, Mom. You were so unconscious. And I'm like, I know, I was unconscious, you know, and it was this light-hearted conversation where there was no underlying hurt. And my dad was kind of like shocked, you know, he laughed about it and said, you're just admitting you're unconscious. And he was laughing at it because it was like something he hadn't seen before, you know? Yeah, I was absolutely unconscious. And I no longer feel guilty about that because I had no idea I was unconscious, right? Just as I coach my clients, you have to let go that your past should have been any different, should have been any different. Yeah. It was exactly what it needed to be. And if I feel guilty now, that hinders our relationship. You know, it's seeing Megan as a victim and me as a victimizer, which then now I'm a victim of my past because I have so much guilt. So now we're both victims and neither one of us are empowered.
Yeah. And at the same as with that, for me to be able to see it, for me to be able to say something like that, without there being hurt, without me saying something that would then hurt her feelings, I have to be really clear that I'm telling a story that I don't have energy around anymore, right? So as much as she's done healing around not feeling guilty, I've done healing around not feeling angry, right? Not thinking, well, you should have done better. And I think being a mom myself has helped that, but also just lots of personal work, like inner child work, spiritual work, that has really helped that. Because I see now as a mom, but I even see like with you and Salem and Samson, how present you are with them and how patient you are with them. And even grandma and grandpa are present and patient with them compared to me, right? I have less of a fuse and not as, you know, I'm doing so much more. And I think, oh, gosh, I'm 32 and have moments of this unconsciousness with my children. Even when I think I'm so aware, I couldn't imagine having been 18 or 20
and having no personal development.
Right, no personal development. So it's that coming to, wow, all this happened so perfectly. Like this was for our pleasure and for our growth.
For sure.
Our growth, and now it's for our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's really key to how we've developed our relationship, and it's a constant awareness and a constant decision that we want to be in each other's life and that we want to be friends and business partners. You know, this is something we want and we've been able to cultivate.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So hopefully this answers a few questions for you guys and gives you a little more insight that the fun and loving and just lighthearted relationship that you see is authentic and it's real, and it's because we choose it.
And we work at it. We're committed to it.
Definitely.
So let's see. Jen says, thank you for sharing this. Yes, Jen, our pleasure. It's a part of healing the mother-daughter relationship. So Valerie says, yes, parents don't realize we are just here to guide our children. They come in with a whole plan of their own. They also have their own team on the other side, parenting them too. Thinking we are in control is just an illusion. That's right, Valerie. Absolutely agreed.
Totally.
So let's, we are enrolling into Sophia Mystery School. Opening ceremonies are June 1st. We have we have some more spaces available. And you can still apply. Hit the, Tori will put the link for the application in. Just a few questions. And then once we approve your application, you can book a call with one of us. We'd love to chat about what your vision is, what you'd like to create, and see if Sophia Mystery School is a way to support that.
Woohoo! Can't wait to talk to you, and we'll see you next Monday for Magic Monday.
All right, everyone. Bye for now. Mwah.